everybody, and welcome back to the Headspace Podcast. It's episode 62. It's your boy HSR.
And I'm back for this episode. It's your boy Chris Chrome. What's up, everybody? Hope you guys enjoyed it last week.
Yeah, and as you can see, Ryan is not here. He checked in sick. If you want to learn something about Montreal, our winters are full of flu bugs and sicknesses and all sorts of gross snot and whatnot.
So come down and visit.
But yeah, so it's in our code. Anyway, let's do the housekeeping portion of the show. So if you want to skip that, in the description, you can see when everything starts. And we are going to start with our favorite comment from last week. Now, Lindell, I know you left a long one, but I already read one of your comments recently. So this time we're going to go from No One Reviews. You can see that coming up. And he wrote, RIP to the legend. I just had to put it out because I see where he's coming from. I also wanted to shout out No One Reviews because he's a pretty channel. You should check it out. He does some reviews of stuff and you can go enjoy it or whatnot, show some love. Community, that's how we do.
Sweet.
Anyway, from that, let's move on to the requests list. Many of you have requested albums that you want to see us cover over the next while. That is all compiled into a document that you can access in the description of this video.
Yep.
And if you request albums, we'll add to the list and we'll inevitably get to them. Let us know what albums coming out in 2018 you want to see, and we can add it to the list, and it'll give it some weight when we're deciding on the week when albums come out. On that note, speaking of comments and all, we can talk about the Grind to 1,000 subscriber contest. Now, basically how this will work is if you subscribe to the channel, you like the video, and you leave a comment related to either our review, the album that we're going to talk about, just something in general to get the discussion going, then you are entered into our raffle of sorts, upon which the first prize will be $100 of Amazon gift card money, and you get to request a review with the people of the team you want to see cover it. Second place will be $50 plus the review. Third place is $25, and if we can achieve 1,000 subscribers before February 20th, which is something you can help us do, then there will be 2 additional $25 given out, although no requests. Plus, for every video that you leave a comment on that you like the video to, and keep in mind we can see how frequently folk comment and such. And you gotta like the video is all I'm saying. Basically, for everyone that you do go back to, you will in fact get an extra raffle entry into the whole thing. I'm basically gone through all the videos, taken all the comments, put it on an Excel file, and we'll use a random number generator to pick the winners via YouTube Live. What am I saying? It's YouTube here. Via YouTube Live once we hit the 1,000 a couple days later. Okay.
Nice.
Now that that's out of the way, Chris, why don't you introduce this week's monstrous album?
Where's the enthusiasm? Where's the happiness?
I'm enthusiastic enough.
Well, guys, as you guys know from the description down below and the little title, we are reviewing the Migos' brand new album, Culture 2.
So, Culture 1 is up for a Grammy, and I remember this time last year, Chris was like, let's do Culture. And me and Daemon were like, no, we're not doing that. Because we felt that on the one hand, our review would suck. And on the other hand, we would not necessarily enjoy the album as much. So we moved on from that point. And Chris was sad. He wanted to do Culture. And now, all this time later, I happen to admit that I like Bad and Bougie. I don't really like it, but I can't deny why people like it. Like, it makes sense. Like, Bad and Bougie.
It's a catchy hook, a catchy riff.
Like it just gets stuck in your head, and even Uzi Vert's growing on me. I'm not gonna lie, EXO Tour Live for 3 was a big asset for Uzi. But like, I just kind of felt, at least from my end of it, I don't necessarily dig what the Migos represent or who they are per se. But it's pretty undeniable that these guys have very popular flows that many folks seem to copy. And if you really do go back to, like, I was listening to Versace and Hannah Montana, I'm like, man, they got these flows before they were, like, really popular and shit. So they got some credibility to what they're saying with their styles and stuff. And then, I don't know. So I guess I'm not really the right demographic for Migos. But let's go one step further, okay? So, like, I'm not the biggest Migos fan. I can respect the talent of what they are. But this shit's 24 songs, this Culture 2 album. I don't know. There was a lot of Migos, and I knew going into it. So people, just in case as you're going along with this review, you're like, why the fuck did you review this? Curiosity. I felt like it would be irresponsible of us to not listen to what the Migos had to offer. But when we committed to doing the Migos, we did not realize it was going to be a nearly 2-hour experience. I have heard this album 3 times at this point, so I'm just saying I've spent in real time almost 5 hours with the Migos in the last 24.
Yep.
So I'm coming into this review with the most open mind I can, and just take with a grain of salt that anything I have to say is not necessarily from a point of haterness. I actually get why Migos is cool. They just don't rep a lifestyle that I find particularly interesting. Be that as it may, I don't know, maybe before we go on, you can describe your relationship with Migos.
I just enjoy their sound, their nonchalant attitude towards how they do things. At first, I never got onto it because I knew there was a lot of like drug dealing talk, and there was a lot of like, running with shooters and stuff like that, and that's not something that I do. So I didn't really, I guess you could say, relate. But when friends start, showing you music and stuff, I started liking more the vibe and the way they sound and how they come about with producing a lot of their the beats with the people they work with, and as well just how they use metaphors and a lot of their creativity. So I really just like them for their artisticness. Now, I understand that a lot of their messages are kind of based around this most generic lifestyle, but it doesn't stop me from enjoying the music itself.
All right.
My relationship with them.
Chris likes the general trap sound. The flow is something I've come to see over this time. Music you could just put on in your car and vibe to. Music you could just put on in a club and vibe to. And that's kind of what I understand the Migos to be. So I did take that into consideration as we went on to Culture 2. And as I understand it, they're trying to define the culture of what hip-hop is to be. They feel like with Culture 1, they made huge steps towards defining their place in the culture and their influence.
It's still their perspective, though. It's not like...
I'm agreeing with you. But as I understand it, this is how they perceive the title. Mm-hmm. And so Culture 2 is really just their follow-up on their 2018 imprint on how the Migos will impact the hip-hop culture at this point. The album cover just has the 3 of them all dressed in black, looking Migos-y, like the 2 at the top and some birds next to it and stuff.
The 2 is made out of flowers.
Sure.
Little white, I forget what the flower name is, but white flowers, two doves at the top of it, and the 3 Migos at the bottom.
I don't know. This is going to be a long review. So I thought we'd play a game. My general thoughts at the very beginning of this album is 24 songs of Migos was a little bit too much. And there were maybe a few songs along the way that, say we clipped off a few. Maybe the album would have been a little more palatable. Because if you're not a Migos fan, 24 songs of Migos is quite a lot. Anyway, so I feel like as we go through the review, we should decide if we feel that this would make a shorter, kind of like this should have been the deluxe album and the original album, what should have made that. Okay. But on that note, let's go with Higher We Go, the intro. 2 feet away from the fence, yo. All these niggas looking like that. So for every song, I just wanted to say I wrote down the order of the Migos and how they did their thing. So this one, Quavo starts us off with a hook and then a little verse, then a full verse, and then Takeoff does a little verse, and then Offset has a verse. Now, Chris, why don't you tell us how you felt about Higher We Go?
Great intro track for me. The beat has got this nice drum loop in the background that keeps going and going. There's a nice little hi-hat that is a nice little 3-hit hi-hat that keeps going as well. There's some lyrics that I did quote down. The first one was right off the bat with Quavo is, I'm going to put these racks in your face, show you that you're lame. I'm going to stash these M's at my place, but no, I'm not the bank. Now, I know that that's so he's making money, he's being cocky and stuff like that, but for me, when I heard it, I was like, he seems to be more, he's trying to be a little bit more like, I want to say humble in a sense, like I'm just gonna do it because I know that I worked for this. I know that like this is how much I deserve this money. I can brag about it because I put in the effort, I put in the time. So I was like, that's pretty awesome. That was pretty cool. Another one was also, we can go there if you want to. I'll come down if you want to. Load up the rounds if you want to. Hop out, see what you gonna do from Quavo as well. Again, I know that it still sounds like, you know, if you fuck with them, they're gonna mess you up and stuff like that. But it's also kind of like they don't seem to be shooting first. Now, for a while, I always thought that, for me personally, I always thought that Migos was the type to like, you know, run up and shoot first and do what they gotta do. But it seems like they're just like, we're gonna react if you have to act up first. So that was also very, that was also a little bit like, oh, okay, so you're actually not these, like you're savages, I guess, but you're not, like, straight up crazy. Okay. And then, Takeoff, I found it really cool that he just gave, like, a shout-out to, like, Oprah Winfrey, Mayweather, and he's saying that he's claiming to do it bigger than them, the inspiration.
And he's saying that Migos is more relevant than they are.
I understand that, and I took that as more of like he feels like they're going to be able to make it past them. They're going to be able to do what they, I guess, think they couldn't do.
I wrote, like, I felt it was more they already feel they have been more relevant than these people are.
Well, I mean, what would you say right now? Like, hip hop is a really big relevant thing.
Oprah.
I know.
No, like, I mean, maybe. Oh, come on, Oprah. Nobody's got that relevance. Like, you know, like, it's just. Yeah. Look, I get it. It's flossing. It's a hype line. I'm not trying to talk shit. I'm trying to be positive. It's just in a literal sense, it's a bit whack.
Cool. And then Offset comes in, and I didn't really have much to say about what Offset says, just because there's a lot of like, again, it's more flossing, flashy about the stuff he's got. But I do have one line. It's Rolls Royce Nightmare. I'm a ghost. Rolls Royce. It's a play on words about his Rolls Royce ghost that Cardi B actually fucking bought him. So that was pretty cool. But I liked Offset's flow more on this track because he's got more of a quick, choppy, bouncy flow. And Quavo had more of the auto-tune. And then Takeoff has this very just deep voice that I was just like, okay, it's more of this like kind of laid back type flow. So that was how I felt towards this.
Yeah, Offset's flow is all right. He may have had the second verse. I noticed the first.
No, he's the third.
Is he the third?
Yeah, it was Quavo, right. Takeoff, and then Offset.
Yeah, so Offset's. I noticed the beginning of the album was a lot of Quavo.
Well, Quavo does feel like he's like top dog in terms of like artists.
Fine.
So,
but like Offset's flow's fine. None of his lines were quote worthy. I mean, I started to try to look for like stuff to quote. I did like "We don't play with them little boys out here. Nah, nah, nah. Don't play big boys, bosses all in my seminar." I just like the idea of him saying seminar. Big Boy Wraith had them bitches seeing stars. That line was kind of boring to me. And they really like, there's like they commit to cars here. Like if they see Wraith, it's like somebody paid them endorsements just to say it a bunch on their album practically. Jesus. Anyway, they commit. Like that AP watch, they say it a lot. But what I really liked was "Stock me out, I don't need no rims on cars." And I was like, hey, look, a rapper not wanting rims. That's cool. I enjoyed that. Takeoff was like "the higher you go, went through the most. We get to fly, you float. No Malone, but I post Malone." And I was like, that was so ridiculous.
Well, he's also making a
Migos,
reference too.
You know we the goats. Goat. And I was like, I mean, I realized at this point that I'm not quoting a lot of lyrics in this review. I can't do it. I know that the lyrical content of a song is only part of it. And Migos, while they lack sufficient diversity of interesting lyrics, and look, you might find them witty and punny, and you might think they're boss lyrics or whatever, I find the Migos not very creative when it comes to lyricism. You want to talk about flows though? They got flows. They know how to do all that ad lib shit. They got like the dope beats and all of that shit. Look, this was a pretty good start to this album. I mean, I knew what I was getting into with the Migos, and as far as everything's considered, I felt like the higher we go, but like even the idea there, like we get high, but we still accomplish it.
Well, it's more like the higher they go up the ladder in fame, they're trying
but
to.
Also,
well, yes, that's
so, that's what I mean. Like it's kind of clever. There's a degree of whatever. It's whatever. Like, look, I give this a 4. This is what I'm gonna like staple it. When I give a 4 here, it means I get why you like the song a lot more than I do. If this came on, and I was drunk, I'd really like it. But sober holding is kind of like I vibe to it. I get it. I can do the little whipping dances and stuff. But like,
it's fun when he does it.
I just totally don't imagine. Like, my first thought was, holy shit, 23 more of these. Cause like I wasn't sure how much it's gonna vary. So I would say this song would stay on the album for me, and I give it a 4. It's okay.
Yeah, I gave this a 4 on 5 as well. I would also say that this would be staying on the album, and I would also keep it as the first track.
Yeah, let's go with Supastars then.
No clout, no fame, no clout, no clout. Bought the game, all brand new chain.
Hey Chris, how do you feel about Supastars?
So I like the nice little piano intro, and then the switch with the different tone right away. The piano switch, the piano tone is from like it's like a little bit like monotone, and then it turns into a high pitched piano. So that was pretty cool. I like the clap automatically. That was great. And then right off the bat, I just figured, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to look at what lyrics I like most. At least that'll give me something to somewhat talk about, because I already know as well that there's not much lyrical deviation that these guys have. It's a lot of the same stuff. So what I went with right off the bat was Whole Gang in the Field, We Don't Do Bleachers from Quavo, right off in the chorus, right at the beginning of the song. Reason being is because it was a nice little shout out, and he was kind of making a statement how he was sitting in the bleachers instead of being on like the top seat at a football game, and he thinks that he's like too much of a superstar. And I can kind of understand it. I mean, they are really popping right now, and everybody's really following them. So, well, no, I wouldn't say everybody, but a good chunk of people are following everything they're doing. So with that mentality, I could get why he's writing that line. After that, I like the line, it's times 3, that's how it goes, 3-way, yeah. That's a nice little shout out to the the titled 3-way EP they did either last year or 2 years ago. And then Huncho on the Call, Gotta Reload. Nice little shout out to his Huncho Jack project with Travis Scott. I checked that album. You guys should check it out too. I think it's really great. So yeah, that was for Quavo. In terms of Takeoff, one line I liked was came from the block and growed up. Guess I'm homegrown. I found that to be a little funny to me. I was like, oh, okay, that's cute. And then Offset comes in, talking about the money. I don't really have, again, not much to say about Offset's lyrics. There's not really anything that strikes me as, oh, this was cool, this was witty. But one thing that I did want to write down was the Pink Stone real rare bling bling blow, yeah, bling bling. And reason being is because it's like they're able to make up all these weird noises and influence these sounds into their raps, just like I feel like they kind of got inspired by Eminem the way he did it too. So I was like, that's kind of cool, staying in with like how other people did it, getting influenced, and also putting difference into the lyrics. I like that.
So this was another Migos song. Quavo
Clearly
comes in with his hook. Quavo does a lot of hooks. He's not my favorite hook guy. I know Quavo's the big poppin' Migos. He's not my favorite Migos. My favorite Migos is Takeoff. I came to really like Takeoff's flows, and find he's the one that least uses auto-tune. He's the one that has the most rappy kind of voice. So
he's also the one that barely talks.
But Takeoff's my new favorite Migos of all of them. And then at the end, there's like, so Takeoff does the second verse. This is like the exact same structure as the previous song. And then Offset does the third verse. This one's kind of about them being superstars, and they get all the money and bling blings and all that crap that they do. I mean, I didn't really find that bling bling blah thing overly impressive. It's kind of like it was impressive like the first time I heard these guys doing this kind of stuff. Anyway, I feel like if my only grievance about their flows and stuff, it's not that it's bad, it's that I don't see a huge evolution between what I was assuming would come from the Migos and what I'm getting on this album, right? That's fine. They just did a sequel. I like the idea of thinking about posting her on the gram and then delete her because it sounds so dickish. It sounds like he's an asshole, and I'm okay with that because it seems like pretty honest, like just fucking around on Instagram. Yeah, saw my teacher. I was the same student failing me. Now I got a lawyer, straight cash, no settlement. I'm on my element, out my element. Woo, yeah. You know, all the Migos noises. Yeah, look, I mean, it's hard for me to go through it. I like the ideas of a couple of these lines, but it's surrounded by what to me sounds like they keep saying the same thing, almost literally over and over again. I know I've given Chris shit a lot in the past for, like, criticizing rappers, like, let's say a Big Pun type for doing that. But, like, in some cases it almost feels like the Migos literally repeat. I mean, I know we're on track 2, but it makes it really hard for me to find.
Don't worry, guys. It gets better. It gets better.
I did like when Offset goes, Marvin the Martian, put your brain up for auction, proceed with caution. That was fun. But I run out of stuff to quote not long after this song. I gave this one a 4. I don't mean to sound so disinterested. This is the same good, flowy, vibey, Migos-y goodness that was on the other song. But that's all it was. The beat was okay. Yeah, whatever. My review's not going to be the greatest this week. Chris is going to talk more, I imagine. So I guess 4 out of 5.
I gave it a 4 as well.
Let's move on to Narcos.
Young nigga know too much now. Bop, 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 that'll slow him down.
All right, Chris, how do you feel about the Migos Ghost drug dealers?
Don't really care. Like, look, it's a really, I like the Spanish sounding guitar riff. I like how they're playing upon the whole Pablo Escobar feel to the whole song. Yes, I mean, I was like, all right, track 3, let's go with the Migos selling drugs. Yes, that's kind of what I expected. The only real thing that really kind of got to me was when Takeoff went "No Monkey in the Jungle," referencing the H&M scandal. I was like, okay, Takeoff seems to be the only person who's kind of up to date with what's going on. In the last 2 verses, the reason why I didn't quote anything was because Quavo and Offset basically went, look at my AP, look at my skeleton, look at my money, look at my drugs, and look at my nice cars. It didn't even, like, the whole song didn't even feel like they were talking about drug experiences or nothing besides the odd, like, oh, this one snorted this and, like, I flip it in this. So I gave this a 3.5 on 5. Beats dope, flows great, and I like that one Takeoff reference.
I felt this was them comparing themselves to the Narcos. Like, they watched Narcos, the show on Netflix, and said, yo, Pablo, right? Right, we got to make another Pablo song. So that's why they ran Pablo with Pablo and did ad-libs that were different. I did enjoy a couple lines on this one because it had a good one. So far, these first 3 songs, like, my mood was pretty high. I feel as though they got the good energy. I mean, content-wise, this song is trash to me. Like, he doesn't really say anything in terms of stuff I'm interesting. But I do appreciate when, I believe it's Quavo, goes straight out the jungle, this real rap, no mumble. Because I noticed they were very clear. There wasn't a lot of mumbling. So I don't feel this is a mumble rap album in the technical sense of I did not find these boys to be mumbling much.
Nice.
I like the Offset bit just because it was so funny to me to hear. I ain't really with the razzle dazzle. Come on, razzle dazzle. Knock him off and I throw him on the rope paddle. Go to Tijuana, put the kilo on the saddle. See, like, I don't even want to say the lines. They're so boring. But then he goes sack him, hit a lick, and cop pterodactyl. Pop him, chop a button down like an apple. Mansion with the AK with the horses and the cattle.
Hey, bars.
And I'm like, all right. Like, I get the appeal. I'm quoting it just like, I get it. It's not trash to me, actually. And I do like Take Off when he's like, no monkey in the jungle, block hot like a sauna, busting, knocking on me, trying to weave with anacondas, jumping in the water, trying to sneak across the water glass. Sea guards out got me beat by a piranha. Because it kind of fits that like theme, Narcos, Colombia, jungles, whatever. It's fine. 3.5 on 5.
Yep.
The beat is really my favorite part of this. The flows are equal. It doesn't really change much. I would keep this on the album.
Yeah.
I don't know. You got any more?
Actually, wait. Would you keep Superstars on the album? We didn't do that.
I would keep
you
it
would?
on.
Okay, so that's already Higher We Go, Superstars.
Yeah, I would keep them on.
All right, and this one?
Well, then this track, yes.
Narcos, you're keeping Narcos?
Yeah. But
I could get rid of Narcos.
I mean, I felt like at least the beat was fun. And
The beat was fun, but I mean, like, I
the
can't.
beat like stands out.
The thing is, my problem is that it's. I understand you when you're like, oh, they may have watched Narcos the series. At least if they were to reference something from it, at least if it was like something about like a life, I would have been like, okay. But this was just another.
About them being drug dealers.
The entire song's about them flashing all their fucking materialistic shit, and they reference drug dealing 2 or 3 times
because they sold drugs to acquire their wealth.
I'm knocking it off the album. That's okay. That's on me. BBO, bad bitches only.
Attention. That ain't bad. Fake bag. She pretended. That ain't bad. If you pay.
I just gotta say this in case Chris tries to steal my joke, as has happened in the past. 21 Savage happens to sound like a bored Big Sean on this hook. Bored Big Sean is like if they go listen to the Big Sean I Decided album and the flows in his voice, and then picture a bored version of that, and that is what I heard. Bad
That's
bitches
funny.
Only.
That's
Bad
funny.
Bitches only.
Okay,
so then anyway, we got 21 Savage on the hook, then it's Quavo, Offset, and then Take Off. I really like this beat, the saxophone and the jazziness, the harmonic layering. If I'm not mistaken, this is the one Kanye was involved in and everyone was excited or whatever. But lyrically, I quoted nothing, not one lyric. Oh, we switched it up. It's about some girls. None of it was,
not.
It's not. I didn't even know.
No, it's
That's
not.
how little I got.
Well,
I cared.
wait. The chorus is roughly about girls. Nowhere in the verse.
Okay, well,
anyway,
I know that 21 Savage is gonna take the girl and then pass it to his friend.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, this song is fine. It's 3.5 on 5. I would say.
Wow.
Well, the beat is really nice.
The
flows
the beat is
are really
nice.
well delivered.
The flows
and
are
the
really well
enunciation
delivered.
is super clear, and everyone except for 21 Savage uses their voice right.
And that's fine.
So all I have beef with is the lyrics, not anything else. The rest of the package is nice, so I'm not gonna completely I don't find this great.
So my issue with that is because the flows, the deliverance, the whole artistry thing. There's a bunch of other songs left on this album that we're gonna get that from. So I'm actually kind of looking at lyrics right now because I know how the Migos are like. I don't want to say that I know how they're gonna do something because they can change it up and there is different things they try out and do, but you kind of generally get what Migos is going to do whenever they come out with a track.
They never do the flow bad.
I understand that. So, but for me, I'm looking at it at lyrics.
They're all trash to me.
Nothing on this track where it's like why the girl's a bad bitch, why she's rolling with the crew, why they're considering even like chilling with her. It's like everybody again. Look at my skeleton watch. Look at my AP.
There's harmonic layering. There's great construction.
So okay, you could be Ryan today and just like.
But what I'm saying is, it's just that like the package is good. It's just the song's a Migos song.
Fine. Either than that, it's funny that you think 21 Savage is a boring Big Sean. I think 21 Savage on every other song that I've heard him on is boring Big Sean. On this one though, I like the fact that he's the chorus because his nonchalant attitude, his just like this is what we're doing, like I'm like turned up right now type of voice. It suits the chorus instrumental vibe of that. So I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. That was pretty cool. But I still gave this a 3 on 5, and I would definitely not put this on the album.
Yeah, I'd cut this one. I'm torn because I really do like the beats. And if it came down to it musically, there's like variation. And by keeping it on the album, so I'm going to say 50-50 on this. 21 Savage, I could do without. But the beat's actually that good. And Anyway, let's go and talk about Autopilot with Huncho on the beat.
Yep.
Young nigga from the nose. Put it in the goddamn mouth. Yeah. Run the
How do you feel about Autopilot, Huncho on the beat?
So I straight up love this beat right away. It got me in this like Tron-esque feel. I feel like I'm in a video game straight up, and then the beat just comes in slamming, and I'm like, yes, this is great. This is fucking fantastic. Look, again, I didn't quote anything from Quavo or Offset. There is nothing very quotable there. They're just basically like, we sell drugs. I'm moving in my car and I'm still selling drugs. I've got people who drive me around so I can do my trapping. I make money. Look at my watch. Look at my watch that I've said the last.
Okay, we get it.
Thank you. And yeah, it's pretty much it. But the one line I did like from Takeoff was, I break the heart on a bitch like I'm breaking a brick, but later in life she'll thank me. She'll thank me. And I was just like, that's pretty, like, that's pretty real. Like, in terms of just experiences that break down people will help them grow in the future, I could kind of see where he's coming from, where maybe he ran into his ex one day and she was like, because of you, like, stop doing this and then. And he's like, well, I guess you got to thank me now because I changed you or some shit. So that was really an honest line for me. Other than that, the beat is great. The way they flow it on this is great. The way they're going back from the triplet flow to chopping it up to the quick speed is just bouncing around. 4.5 on 5 for me.
So Quavo's on the chorus, and then on verse 1, and then Takeoff does verse 2, and then Offset does verse 3. Somebody goes, I didn't graduate, but I know chemistry and science.
Quavo.
I appreciated that line. At least it goes to show you can still be smart without education, and that there are informal ways to do it. As a university dropout, I highly appreciate where you're coming from, Mr. Quavo. I do also dig the harmonies that they throw in. The production on this beat is truly beautiful. I do feel that Quavo and mostly Quavo has a lot more voices than the rest of the crew, so I do feel Quavo's got a bit more talent in that regard.
Quavo can also hold a note. I think I don't want to say he can sing because I can't confirm
but what
that,
I mean is,
but
like,
he can, like,
he's
carry
got, like,
it.
scary Quavo, he's got fun Quavo, he's got auto-tune to death Quavo. More so than Offset, and then Takeoff seems to only have Takeoff voice and auto-tune Takeoff voice is what I've noticed. I don't know.
Well, Takeoff, like, the way I see it, Takeoff is very lyrical. I find more lyrical than Offset and Quavo, but I also feel like Takeoff's more of like the hype man of the group. He does a lot of the ad libs, a lot of the extra sounds and the whooshes and the
He's a
skirts.
few years younger. He's like 3 years younger than the other two.
Yeah, and they're all related too. They're all family.
Yeah. I think Quavo is Takeoff's uncle, and then Offset is Quavo's cousin.
Yep.
Anyway, I give this a 4. It's good. I'd keep it on the album. It's hype. If I'm at the club and this comes on, I'm able to go like that and shit. It's good. Walk It, Talk It. That's the next one featuring.
Wait, you keep this on the album?
Yeah, I did. I would keep it.
I'd keep this too.
Walk It, Talk It, like I was trying to say.
I think my back got scoliosis cause I swerved the lane. Heard you signed your
I hate this chorus. Honestly, every time Chris has ever done like a fake trap chorus, it's had this same flow. So I've heard Chris do this flow like the wooka 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 hooka booga booga a whole bunch already over the course of 2017. Drake shows up,
Yeah.
does Migos verse.
Yeah.
Well, not like Amigos flow.
Drake
Amigos
honestly
content.
showed up just because he's a hot feature. That's what I'm stating. Straight up, I don't see why Drake was on this fucking album or on this song.
Because Drake was part of, I don't know, Drake, he dropped
Drake,
the Versace
wait,
line.
You're right. Drake they were brothers since Versace Bando.
Yeah, that's right.
Drake.
Then there's a little Takeoff verse, because sometimes Takeoff only gets a little verse.
No.
Offset and Takeoff both have the sickest flows on this track. Drake had that like classic Drake flow, I would say. Like it felt like Drake, but what he had to say felt like Migos. I'm giving this a 3.5. I did not really feel this track. I felt it was super generic. Whatever. I'll be honest. I would cut this one from the album. I would keep Bad Bitches Only over this song.
So I don't really mind the chorus. I think I actually kind of find it really catchy. I thought it was a little creative way to say, well, I walk the walk and talk the talk.
I find it. Sorry, I don't find it creative. I think it's blatant and obvious. Go on. I'm gonna get in shit for interrupting you again.
It's okay.
One of
It's
those
okay.
Comments.
So some lyrics I quoted. Quavo straight up goes, "Take my shoes and walk a mile, something you can't do. Woo, hey." I was like, hey, okay, that's pretty cool. He's being honest. He's like, I don't think you can walk in my shoes or be through the things I've been through. That was dope. I like the line, you get respect in your diamonds. I bought a plain Jane Rollie. These bought they fame.
So to be clear to all you fine fellows out there who don't know, apparently plain Jane's when you buy the watch and it got no diamonds that you add to it, because as ASAP Ferg taught us, as this was mentioned all over Genius, adding diamonds to your watch will remove the value, because they say plain Jane a fair bit on this album.
Yeah.
But that's cool. It's nice to know that we're not studding up our already beautiful. I'm a big fan of watches as much as I whatever. And so we don't need to add frivolous diamonds. But if the diamond is inside the watch as part of the original watch, it's okay. Like if it's in the middle.
Because part of the original design.
Yeah, anyway, go on.
Nice. And then, so yes, nice ASAP Ferg shout out. That was pretty cool. And then we got Drake, and honestly, Drake just kind of sat there to me. He didn't really express how he walks or talks or does anything. He basically just sat there and called out, and this is what's funny. He calls out, he goes, give me a second here. Heard you living in a mansion in all your raps though, but your shit look like the trap on this Google Maps though. And then he follows up with validating his friendship with Migos. And I'm like, dude, you're kind of just there talking shit about other people who were saying this. And you're like, but don't remember, guys, I'm with Migos, though. Like, I was with them back in Versace. And I was like, I don't think you ever came from trap houses or like that type of life. Why are you going to shit on somebody who might have been from that life and then try to validate with people who are from that life? That's just me. Other than that, the beat's pretty dope. The verses are actually pretty laid out, really clean, really tight, and I gave this track a 4 on 5.
Would you keep it on the album?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Emoji A Chain.
What the fuck, nigga, that's strange. What the fuck, yeah. Water on my wrist and my neck, splash. Look at this fluid.
This was like the first real, Offset hook, Offset verse. It's different. It's not just Quavo taking over. Offset pre-chorus, takeoff verse, and then a Quavo verse. I like when he goes, "We ain't worried, not at all." That's my favorite line of the whole song.
We ain't worried, not at all.
It was just the way they delivered it was cute and fun, and I enjoyed it. This was a pretty lengthy song, and I do dig the overall feel of it. I don't really get what Emoji A Chain is. I'm just gonna let it go. I know what they're trying to be cute.
I'll tell you.
Well,
at least what I think.
I find having Offset as the predominant force of the song instead of Quavo does change the feel of it. And maybe they should explore having Takeoff and Offset doing more of the heavy lifting and a little less Quavo. But that's just my opinion. Whatever. The beat's okay. 3.75.
Nice.
I would keep this on the album. It's got more of a fun feel than some of the others.
Nice. So I like the beat to this. I like the vibe to this. I didn't quote anything simply because there's nothing really to quote. Again, it's... my chain is this much, my diamonds are this shiny, my life is this rich, and all the fancy stuff. What I do like about the song, though, is one of two... it's a little complicated for me because it's one of two things. First off is I like how they're basically saying, like, they started wearing chains as emojis. The 100, like the 100, they have one of them has a chain that has that. Another one's got the diamond emoji, and and people are starting to make emojis into chains and have all this stuff start becoming a trend, which I've actually noticed. Every time something trending pops like that, like it starts to become an actual thing. Like I saw on Facebook, there's this, the poop emoji, you can buy it as a fucking pillow. So I was like, okay, I guess there might be acknowledging how this could becoming a fashion, how things that start trending become a fashionable item to wear. So I thought that was really cool on how they did that.
Okay.
Yes.
What'd you give it?
Give it a 4 on 5.
Would you keep it on the album?
Yeah, I'd keep it. It's fun.
Let's go to CC.
Young nigga got a big green truck, looking like Riddler. What the bit name with the me?
Just whatever. There's a lot more to go. We're only 1/3 of the way through. So CC, we got Quavo on the chorus, Quavo on the verse, Gucci on the verse, Offset, and then Takeoff. CC is for Chanel. It's the Chanel symbol. So this is what they're, I guess, giving their lady friends. I'm happy Quavo didn't keep his shitty auto-tune the whole verse. In general, I'm happy at the low amount of auto-tune on this album, or when they do use it, it's not, with the exception of this little bit on Quavo's verse, it wasn't so bad so far. That's 8 songs without a lot of auto-tune complaints. That's good. Beats okay. 3.5 on 5. I feel very indifferent to this song, and if it wasn't on the album, I'm okay. But if it was on the album, I'm okay.
I like the concept of the song. Basically, the Migos are breaking down how there's certain type of women that ride with them, like ride or die girls, and whenever I feel like they're kind of explaining how like they reward them. Like the more that these girls are showing their loyalty and like they're willing to do what they got to do, but they also seem like independent women too who know what they're trying to go for as well. Migos is like, yo, I'll upgrade you from a BB to a CC, which is some whatever B class level clothing, to a Coco Chanel, which would be like the high expensive brand. So that was really cool. What the fuck, Gucci? You had no relevancy. You basically complained about fuck the border because you can't go anywhere because you fucked yourself, and you also complained about how like you want people to be free and do what they want. How does that have anything to do with like girls and rewarding them, or even like how they move and roll with you or ride or die?
I don't know, man. I think you're thinking too much into the Migos'
Look, besides the generic fucking like sell drugs, money, this, I'm trying to find something with these songs to see what they're really about and like why these guys are going number one. So I'm like, I understand.
Don't think it has to do with the lyrics. To answer you why they're going number one,
and that
it's the ad libs. I'm telling you, the secret to the Migos is the ad libs.
But straight up, this is a 3.5 on 5, and I would not have this on the album.
A. See? The way I placed that A at the end of your... Anyway.
You know what? Stir fry.
That, okay. This was like the freshest beat on the album. This is my favorite song on the album, 100.
Pharrell, thank you.
Yeah, for real. The flows reminded me of some of the stuff I saw on the latest NERD album that we covered. And it really was like poppy. It was upbeat. I mean, you really got the feeling that when they were whipping that crack in the stove, like stir fry, that it was a fun and pleasurable activity as opposed to maybe being so negative. But this track, it's just fire. I mean, it would come on and it's got such a danceable rhythm to it. The Migos, all of them, fucking hit it up in terms of like hitting that Pharrell beat proper. Quavo comes in with a verse that's really like, it bounces. It's like, it's different. There's no other song on the album that has such a distinct flow as this. And then Offset, and then Takeoff. And I like Offset gets some really tricky shit in there sometime. Anyway, it's the funnest song, and they be whipping crack like it's stir fry. So it's hype, and I gave this a 4.5 on 5. It's the only song on the album I plussed on Spotify. I think it has to stay on the album. It just must be there.
Nice. I like this song. I didn't think I was going to. When I first started hearing it, when it was popping out as the single it is, I was like, I don't know. And then I started understanding it, and for me, what I got was so I can quote it. Quavo goes, "Hey, put the mask down, mask. We live in fast now, fast." And I'm like, okay, so there could be two things. One, they're basically just removing that metaphorical mask and now like enjoying their life and doing what they want to do and living that fast life. Two, when you're on the block selling drugs and doing all this stuff, and when you're, got to do B&Es and breaking and entering and all these criminal activities, you got to wear a mask to hide your face. So I was like, okay, that's a really cool acknowledgement that they're like, look, we don't have to do this shit no more. But then in the chorus, where they're switching it up and they're like, oh, we're in the kitchen whipping it up like stir fry, I'm kind of like, okay, so now you guys know you don't have to, but y'all just really love the money, so you're still going to keep doing it anyway. I was like, that's some straight up honesty. That was pretty cool. And then I like another line where it goes, life's monopoly, go cop me some land and some property. And I was like, oh, monopoly line, that was cute. I like that. Other than that, there's not really much else for me to quote. I liked, again, the verses. The flows are pretty much the same from whatever we've heard already. Not much has changed. Takeoff does have some tricky little speeding up flows.
This is the only song that has like super distinct flows.
From Takeoff, not from Offset and Quavo. They for me, they both still sound like, I was like, yeah, okay. Like, there's still dope metaphors and dope bars, yes, but the same shit is being said, and the flows are still like...
I felt like they all hit this beat different than they hit any of the other beats. That's all I was saying. At least from a flow perspective.
4 on 5. I'll keep it there.
All right, let's talk about Too Much Jewelry.
Quarter ticket, half a ticket, once I get it, spend it. Quarter ticket.
I also think Mr. Zaytoven makes a particularly fun beat.
Yes.
I don't think it's quite as good as the Pharrell beat, but it comes pretty close. It's another good one for this album. This song is literally all about wearing too much jewelry. Okay. I do like the line, I just cashed out on my neck, that's a house. I mean, okay, if you're able to be like, I'm wearing the value of a house around my neck, that's pretty fly. I'm not gonna lie. This one has Takeoff and Quavo on the hook. Verse 1 is Takeoff, then the bridge is Quavo. I feel like Takeoff sounds very gangsta with it. And then Money is coming in, and they think that we the ones that print it was kind of an interesting line. Like, they have so much flying in that, they may as well be the royal. Anyway, same shit, different now, whatever. Sounds a 4. It's flyer than some of the other ones. I don't hate this at all. It's got a good feel to it.
Nice. So yeah, right off the bat, Money coming in, they think we the ones printing it. I like that line. That was pretty cool. I liked the Takeoff line when he's like, "I'm gonna let you get the bitch, but I'm gonna get me some millions M&Ms." And I was like, you know what? In a day and age where right now a lot of the hip hop artists right now are coming out with a lot of emotional and like love, heartbreaking, fucking destructive songs. Takeoff's kind of just still like, well, you go chase that, and I'm gonna go chase a check, like Future would say. So that's pretty cool. Not really much to this. I like the auto tune on Quavo's voice. I like how they shifted with the different tones and the waves within the song. I like the piano tone difference from the intro and how it's kind of like synchronizes through the voices throughout the track. I gave this a 4.5 on 5 because I really just like the beat itself. It is fucking banger. Zaytoven did a great job. So,
okay, let's talk about Gang Gang.
Everywhere I go, they know my name. What you claim? Cause I be rapping gang, gang, gang.
This is like the Quavo track. Sorry, the Takeoff track. It was more or less just Takeoff. Quavo did a few lines. That was cool because he's my favorite Migos. It's really honest and like self-conscious and shit. Like, you got Takeoff saying stuff like, "Hey, I know this might sound weird to say, but would you love me if I ran away? I know you probably think I'm insane. Ain't nothing changed but the pocket change." And like, you get the sense that is like, it could be to a girl or whatever, but it's more likely like Takeoff talking to the world, saying, "I know I'm the least favorite Migos. Would you still love me if I left?" And I thought it was a cool thing. I learned Gang Gang was just their way of saying Migos because they're a gang, the three of them. They do everything together. Yeah, it's nice. Like, you just see Takeoff's down for the squad. It's very loyal. I don't have any real problems with this track. Lyrically, it's one of the more sound ones. I gave it a 4. I totally think this should stay on the album. This one was fun.
That's interesting because the way that I felt about this song was Takeoff is basically mocking a lot of the people who try to validate a lot of the dumb shit they do for gang life reasons. A lot of the times when people do dumb shit, and this is what I see on social media, I'm not trying to group everybody in it, but what I see on social media, people are trying to validate, like, yeah, gang life, this is what we're doing, when it's some dumb shit like, oh, we're going to blow this up, or we're going to, flip this car or something. And for me, the song, I feel Takeoff is trying to acknowledge that in a way, and he's like, this is not how you're supposed to validate a lot of the shit you do, and this is not, you're taking away from what gang life really is, because as Migos, they know what gang life is. They know what it is to actually be in that shit. So for me, I felt like Takeoff was mocking a lot of these people who kind of butcher that type of like gang mentality that they're trying to use or trying to use to validate the dumb shit they're doing. So I give this a 4 on 5.
I'm like 90% certain that the gang thing is just about the Migos, and collectively this is how he's down for the gang, his gang. I didn't really feel it mocking. I could see where you're coming from, but I thought it was sincere. Anyway, let's talk about the White Sand track. Yo, they fit a lot of people on this tiny fucking 3-minute and 23-second song, and then they have like 5-minute songs that no features. But so the chorus is Travis Scott, helped out by Ty Dolla Sign 99. First one is Ty, then it's Big Sean. Big Sean said, bitch, I surround myself with all this loyalty. Swear to God I'm the one. My girl might just propose to me. Okay, shut up, Big Sean. Nobody cares about that part. A clique full of CEOs. Oh, none of us got a degree. No. I like that because it's an interesting concept.
Yep.
Then for the next chorus, Quavo adds a part, and he shows up, and that's his contribution. I do like play no games, no 2K, crap the game, in the booth, flame, pull out the coupe like Bruce Wayne. So I was watching Gotham today, so it was nice. Verse 3 is Offset, No Noteworthy Lines, and verse 4 is Takeoff with No Noteworthy Lines. It's a fun enough song. I mean, to me it just sounds like the other ones, only with like, I guess, a couple extra friends. Like, nobody really stood out to me that much. So 3.5 on 5. I don't really think I would put this on my ideal Migos album, but it's also not bad, so if it did make it there, I wouldn't be that upset.
Nice. So I really like this song. I really like the beat of this track. I like Travis Scott. I guess I might be really just biased to this song because I like everybody on this track. My issue though with one person is Big Sean, because I don't know why he's on this track. Because to me, he kind of sounded like Drake trying to just validate himself being friends with the Migos and being featured on their album. I didn't feel like there was any reference to like cocaine, which is the white sand that they're talking about. And as we know, Migos used to whip it up in the kitchen. So Migos has got their whole like, yeah, we're white sand, we're chilling with bad bitches, we're doing the whole drug thing, it's cool. And then you got Big Sean talking about loyalty, being with a bunch of CEOs. And I understand it. I get the lyricalness behind it and the bars. It's fire, but it's not really relevant to the premise of the song. And part of that bothers me because I'm just like, why did you feature on the track if you don't have anything to really say about what the song, I feel as a listener, would be about? So I'm like, okay, that's that. But still, great verse, though. Like, the verse is not bad. It's just not... Anyway. Other than that, it's like I said, the same just references they've been doing throughout the entire album. But I do like the beat, and I do like the artist on the track. I also like Travis Scott as the chorus. So, and actually, I also like the Danny Phantom line. I wanted to make that clear. I like the Danny Phantom line in the chorus of Travis Scott. 4.5 on 5, keeping it on my ideal album.
Okay, I know we're going quick, but we're only halfway through the album. We're only halfway through this Migos Culture 2 experience. So why don't we crown the kings?
Look like you a snitch on a nigga, yeah, you tell him. Nigga might think we UPS though.
Okay. Intro is Quavo. The refrain is Quavo. The verse 1 is Quavo. Chorus is Quavo. All that's Quavo. Before we then get an Offset. Verse 3 is Takeoff. I really like when Quavo goes, catch a Babe Ruth. The bat, I battled the bat. 2 hoes attached, call them Siamese cats. That part's whatever, but I do all the stunts. I kick like a football punt. I don't know why. It really just stuck with me. Like it just, I don't know. Sometimes he says some stuff, and that one just kind of stuck with me. I dug Takeoffs. I got every drug that start with a letter. Like, it's just okay. Probably does. Chickens is tender. I like chicken tenders. And this is it. With her, she said, I'm like Soldier Boy, the way you tell him. Come on. Soldier Boy, tell him.
Oh
hey,
my God, shut up.
You know what's crazy? My name's Holden Roy. Holden Roy, tell him. I've always wanted to do that. Anyway, this song's about how they're the best. They should finally get their crowns. 3.75. It would make my Migos album. It's one of the more fun ones, so yeah. Okay, your turn.
I don't have much to say about this. The song's pretty boring. 3.5 on 5. The only thing I really do like about the song, and I'm sorry if I'm being super just like blah about this track, but this is really the only track that I was just like, we got this on Supastars. We got this on everything else with the flows. No. But again, the flows are great. The style is great. Everything they did is Migos, and it's good. 3.5 on 5. It's not going on my album. What I do like is the Get Up, Stand Up loop in the background from the Bob Marley song. I like that.
All right. What you can say is this album's been flooded with Migos.
We send them to Greco. Shoot a fuck nigga with sis, cause I don't shoot accurate when I shoot Dracos. No.
Man, this one I like the most stereotypical, boring ass beat on the album to me. So it's Offset on the hook, Offset on the first verse. Verse 2's Quavo, verse 3 Takeoff. I like the Offset line, swim in the water like Phelps, too many chains on my neck, I got welts. Okay. Quavo did Solitaire, Chicken McNuggets. I don't even know what that has anything to do with. But the fact that he said Solitaire and then followed it up with Chicken McNuggets, I don't know, man. At this point in the album, there's still a lot to go. I'm feeling like flooded with Migos. This is where I started to realize that maybe if this album was ending around now, I think I could really appreciate it. Or even if it was 16, 17 songs, okay. But like when you realize there's still 10 more songs, and maybe the people who really like Migos don't see this as a problem, but I wanted to like learn from this album or try to experience it, but I feel like it's so daunting to have this many tracks on it and so much of the exact same thing over and over. I mean, yeah, you can tell me the beats are kind of different and the flows are kind of different, but this is like fucking 24 trap songs. Anyway, I gave this a 3. This was one of the only ones I found to be really boring. Like just flat out, like there was nothing here. There's no redemption point here. It's not bad. It's made well enough. It's technically proficient, but generic.
2.5 on 5. And it only got a 0.5 because I like the chop and screwed voice. The entire song is really boring. There is nothing said here. It's just weird, like heavy smoker, like in a hot box room, and like you can't hear anybody because the music's fucking blaring. Like I don't know. It's just no. 2.5 on 5 only because I like the chop and screwed voice. That's it.
All right, let's move on to a song about a girl, Beast. So this is the chorus and the post-chorus of Quavo. Yeah, and then speaking on like a gold digger type, then a Quavo verse, then an Offset verse, then Takeoff takes the next post-chorus, repeating kind of the she walks with models and all the bottles, and she a robber for the gold bottles, and she fuck for dollars and whatever else they say, designer clothes, and for more followers, she a gobbler. I think somebody mentioned Snapchat in one of them. I don't know. The flows are whatever. The song's whatever. It's about whatever. I mean, you're not really listening to this for the dope-ass lyricism at this point. I really like when Murder on the Beats is like, it's murder on the beats, so it's not nice. That's one of my favorite beat tags I've ever heard. It really ranks up there with If Young Metro Don't Trust You, He Gonna Shoot Ya. That's another one I really like. This is a 3.5 on 5. It's adequate. It totally is not making my like fucking final project. Like, it's okay. It's an interesting concept, but I don't really need to hear about their sexual escapades and shit like that. It's just boring to me.
I actually really like the song. I think that I gave this a 4 on 5. I'm keeping it on my ideal album because a lot of their music is very, and I want to say guy oriented. Like a lot of the movements and the things that they talk about and how they talk about women. This song for me, I felt like Migos was kind of like trying to empower women a little bit, trying to touch upon independent women who are making movements to do things to get where they want to get to, not criticizing anything or discrediting anything. So I was like, you know what? At least they're trying to. I feel like they're trying to touch upon like, hey, let's try to get some girls to like our album as well. Let's try to, portray to them as well and see what we can do. So I thought that was very cool. There isn't much to this song besides the breakdown of every individual artist on the in the Migos on which type of girl they deal with. They seem to deal with different type of girls, but they're all kind of after the same type of lifestyle. So 4 on 5.
Okay. I was hoping we would open it up and find something dope on this album.
That to the blogs, money to the stars. Yoda. Blessings came from.
I lied. I hate this one too. I find this one strongly annoying. It's the Lil Uzi Vert bad and bougie yeah shit that I'm not so down for. And then Chris Cross jump. Come on, guys. Come on, try hard. You tried harder on like a lot of the other ones. This one didn't. It didn't feel like the Migos was trying very hard. It's kind of like how they used to trap and now they make music and rap. Okay. This is a 3. Like, it's adequate. I know there's worse music out there. Like, I don't actually feel like anything on this album falls below the 60% line. Like, it passes. It's a passable song. But shit, this wouldn't make my album. I know we're going fast, but like, if you were to go listen to this album, you would understand why we're kind of blitzing through this a little bit. There's so little noteworthy on track 16, the 66% point on this album. Anyway, I'm gonna not obsess on this anymore.
So just two things I quoted. I'm actually just trying. I'm trying to, at this point, I'm trying to just figure out what I'm starting to like now, where I can find some type of substance to talk about. Because honestly, I would have been done by now. Like, it's getting repetitive, and it's something you have to understand that this is what Migos is. They are repetitive, and it's just different metaphors and different, like I've said before, different ways of saying the same fucking shit. But I did like when Offset said diamonds on me, took the Rick ruler back, Slick the ruler. I was like, hey, cool. He's referencing Slick Rick. That was awesome. And then I love how, and you know what? I don't even care if Offset didn't even say this line, but they're considered Migos. They move as a group, and as you can see through the different interviews and stuff, they react, talk, and get up as a group and all that stuff. So I love it when they're like, how they went, fuck that bitch, buy no rings, yet Offset is engaged to Cardi B. I had to call that out. I'm just kind of like, this confuses me how you're trying to depict this lifestyle and then you're like not walking and talking it. Just gonna call that. But no, this isn't staying on my album. It's a 3 on 5. It's cool. It's catchy, I guess. I understand why people would want to listen to this, but I don't.
Okay, let's talk about MotorSport. MotorSport's a real song.
Green Lamborghini, a tortoise. No human being, I'm immortal. Protect an AP for the war.
So, starts off with a chorus by Quavo. Then he does the verse one with an auto-tune, not so fun Quavo. Like, it was really the one big flaw in this song to me. Verse 2 is Offset, which is okay. It's a shorter verse. And it flows right into Cardi B, which makes sense because they've been doing some intercoursing, as I understand it.
They're engaged, like I just said.
No. Before you even go with that, I mean,
yes.
I get upset off. I turn Offset on. I told him the other day, man, we should sell that porn. All right, Cardi B, you do you. You do you. I like that Bodak Yellow song. It's growing on me. You know, like the red bottoms, those are bloody shoes.
Yes.
Then Nicki comes in after a nice Quavo break. And she says a lot of fun stuff. Like, her verse is hard. Like, Nicki's kind of growing on me as time's gone on. But it's get you a straw. You know this pussy's juicy. That was the most noteworthy thing. I also like when she kind of, like, gets on the floor in the video and gets all intense and shit. And she's like, you know, I can actually buy a pink Bugatti. I'm like, okay, you probably can. I believe you. And I thought the way she delivered it was fucking hard with, like, venom and shit. Okay. Then there's a takeoff and a takeoff at the end. It's a step up. I feel like they had Cardi B and Nicki here, who
That's
like
basically the only
actually
reason why I like the song.
kind of have lyrics compared to Migos. So like the whole track kind of stepped up, and I give it a 4.5. It's not something I would really go back to personally. I don't really like the Migos is part of it, but Nicki Minaj and Cardi B kill it. The beat's pretty fucking fly. Like, I can see the value of this song a lot more than many others on this album.
I do like the track. It's pretty. It is the first single that was released off the album. Honestly, I don't have much to say about it because it's been played so much and it's dead. But I do like the song. I do like how it was presented. And my biggest thing about it is I like how the big controversy between Nicki Minaj and Cardi B. If you really listen to Nicki's verse, she's basically shitting on Cardi B for all the dissing and the fighting that they had, and Cardi's just there trying to prove that she's better. And that's honestly, besides the nice production and the music video and everything on all that, that's honestly the only reason why I gave this song a 4.5 on 5 is just because of the whole outcome of how like Cardi didn't know Nicki was on there. And there was just this whole scandal, and I just found it very dramatic to have happened. And I just was like, you know what, this is a very, very, like for me, memorable song. I'm gonna always remember what happened with this song. So 4.5 on 5.
I had no idea any of that happened. Okay,
Yeah.
Let's say that the drama is just moving too fast.
Big shield, living life, wanna vibe with my bitch. 500K to the council.
Offset does the chorus, Offset does the verse 2 is Takeoff, verse 3 is Quavo. I do not like auto-tune Quavo. That seems to be a note I've written a couple of times. This is about making money, moving fast. Okay. I'm okay with the line, Pop 1, he'll go beast, Pop 1, represent the land of the free. But some of my in the cell, so I don't even know what that mean. No. I was like, that is a surprisingly deep lyric of real substance and real fucking thought and shit. I thought that was really noteworthy. Really good. I gave it a 3.5. This shit would totally not make my final Migos album. I mean, pretty much anything from here on out that's not substantial doesn't make my final Migos album. It's not that it's a bad song. It's just this would make my deluxe version. It's just it's a lot. It's not bad. It's not great.
Yeah, I didn't really either like this song too. I like how I do like how they're acknowledging that shit's changing. Things seem to be moving quick, and they don't really seem to know how to handle it, but they are gonna power through it. But other than that, it's again, you get a lot of look at my wrist, look at my watch, look at this, and I'm just like, I'm starting to really feel like Migos, you seem to want to say something, you seem to have like these feelings and these messages you want to say, but I think that you're so caught up in this whole like, yeah, gotta be hard, gotta be flashy, gotta be this, that you're stopping yourself from expressing what I think you really might want to express, like dealing with the fame, dealing with a lot of this stuff. I hear a lot of like, you know, like a lot of just wanting to be open, and then you're cascading that with like diamonds and shit. So not else really much to say about this track. 3 on 5, not making my ideal album.
All right, let's talk about Work Hard.
Walking with the chains, Quavo Django.
Quavo didn't go to school but made a lot of money. Chorus is Quavo, verse is Quavo, then Takeoff, then Offset. Kind of just flip up their order every now and again. fair bit of money counting there for Takeoff's verse. He's like, can you count it? Then you hear, and like it just goes for a fair bit. Like he really filled up like 2 bars of just the money counting machine. I thought that was noteworthy to like mention. It's like a 3.5 on 5. I feel like there's very little interesting on this song for me. I mean, I like the idea of the fact that like they're attributing their success and their like whatever to the fact that they have a really good work ethic. That's pretty cool. But
well, I want to say that I think that's part of it. I like the song because with the whole line, like, I didn't graduate, but I still made a lot of money. I feel like they're trying to target people who do have struggle in school. Like, I get it. I know it's weird to hear this from, like, Migos because, you know, they sell drugs and everything we've said. But I think, like, part of me is also, like, well, there is people who don't make it, like, who don't graduate, and they don't feel like they can ever make it. But when you hear this song, I feel like they're like, yo, with hard work, you can actually do it. This is what we did. This is what we chose to do. We're not really saying to go do this, but at least if you have hard work, determination, and grind, you can actually make it. I would keep this song. I like this. I gave it a 4 on 5.
I would not keep this song. I don't really think it's that different than some other shit. It's just like, whatever. I guess we can move on then to Notice Me. This one is Post Malone, then Quavo, then Takeoff and Offset each does a verse. I feel like Takeoff has a really fun and cool, crazy verse. Like, he really tries hard on this one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I feel about Post Malone. I find him kind of fake, but like, he sounds good even though he's pretty fake. So having him there with the Migos is kind of interesting. But this song kind of is like they're all famous now, so you'll notice them and whatnot. And so in that regard, it totally makes sense to have Post Malone be there. I guess I'm gonna ultimately give this one a 4. It has a decent beat. It's slower. The whole vibe of this song stands out. Like, it feels like it's a different song.
I felt like it was more of like a poppy sound to it. There was more like a radio-esque, like you can play this like on your radio. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Like, it doesn't seem too like hardcore, too violent. I think it's maybe because like Post Malone's there. He's got that like whole country feel voice to him, so it kind of felt a little softer.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's also Post Malone's like beat maker, really, the guy that they use. So, it was different. It just wasn't the same as the rest of the album, which, at least as far as the sounds went. So I appreciated that. I give it a 4. I would, for those reasons, keep it on my Migos album because it is different. It does stand out. It's something else, you know.
Definitely. I as well gave it a 4, but I wouldn't really keep it on my Migos album. It's okay with me.
All right, let's talk about Playa.
Finish bad, nigga spinning fast. 150 cash, 50.
I really like the saxophone. The saxophone player really brought life to this song because it really felt like almost a dynamic, fresh, like somebody really was just playing sax the whole way.
Wasn't there trumpets too? I feel like I heard trumpets.
Maybe it was horn. I don't know what horn it was. But it was nice. It was like it had a certain degree of like life to it, and then it's more or less like a lot of Quavo. So it's like Quavo, and then 2 Chainz, and then Quavo, and then all of a sudden Takeoff and Offset kind of appear near like the end. I really like when Takeoff goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. My name is Takeoff. I'm out of here. That was kind of funny. 2 Chainz has his very standard 2 Chainz flow. Like, a lot of people say he's lyrical, and I suppose he's lyrical in the sense that he's very pun-based. I don't really know if I call him that lyrical, but I do find him to be like I don't know. Maybe, apparently his like 2017 project was good, but what I've heard of these new features, I don't fully get the 2 Chain train. But this song also does kind of stand out. It has its own personality and life, and I would keep this on my Migos album because because of that. Like, it really is a decent track. Like, it feels nice to listen to, like something fresh, as opposed to some of the more standard trappy nonsense that filled up a lot of this album.
Nice. Well, for me, I liked it when 2 Chainz said hard top cruise, no Kennedy. I was like, oh, he went that way. That was cool. Other than that, that's the only real lyric I liked throughout the entire song. Again, it's a lot of the same stuff that they keep saying, but I do like the concept of it. Each Takeoff, Quavo, and Offset all have different variations of what they think a player is. You've got a player in the game, a player with women, and then a player with like business, financial. So I like how they all interpret the word player differently, how they break it down the way they see it. That was really cool. I would keep this on my album. I like 2 Chainz. I gave this a 4 on 5.
All right, let's talk about Made Man.
Cause all that shit be paid for. All my niggas made for.
I find this to be one hell of a boring song, all things considered. Basically everything they have is paid for, and they all have their shit, and everybody's set up, and their whole squad's tight. And the starts off with Takeoff. The chorus is and then the verse 1 is Quavo. Verse 2 is it's the chorus, and the first verse is Takeoff. The second verse is Quavo. The third verse is Offset. Everything's paid for. Meh. I don't know. Sun isn't doing much for me. It's a 3.5. It's kind of long. It's like fucking nearly 5 minutes. I could really do without this track. Maybe if I hadn't listened to like 21 songs before it, I might feel a little nicer about it, but I'm just not feeling it.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about it either. I like the softer tone of it. I like how Takeoff is starts off on this soft, slow flow, and then he goes on to his quick little choppy thing. But yeah, I get it. Y'all made it. Cool. 3.5 on 5. Not staying. I'm sorry.
That's fine. Let's talk about Top Down on Da NAWF. North.
But I got my top down on the NAWF, yeah.
So apparently, this has some real lyrics in it. A couple. Quavo starts this one off with the chorus. It's whatever. He's from the North, whatever. Then he has his verse where he goes, "For some reason I can't cry. For some reason I am not tired. For the gang I gotta bring it home. For my grandma watching me in the sky." It's like, damn, man. He can't even feel shit. He still gotta grind. He got responsibilities. He has people watching him.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, it felt real there. It felt like there was something else
Wait,
happening.
you're thinking this isn't present?
Well, this is kind of like they came back, as I understand, they came back to their hometown and were commenting on shit, you know? Like when he's cruising around his hometown in his car. I got a little
different. I felt like they were just kind of, I felt like when they said top down on the North is like the way they say north. So when I was thinking north, I thought it was a clever play on word of like being at the top, since like north is at the top on the compass. And they're like basically explaining how they're like, you know, kind of cruising around but reminiscing about
like
old
they're from
past.
the north side of town. Because they said it somewhere else. That's how
it could be that. I guess maybe it's just me looking into it, but I felt like it was. I didn't think they were still dealing with struggling. I think they were reminiscing about the old struggles they were having.
What I'm saying is that like it's just kind of the idea as he's remembering and it just felt
yeah, like reminiscing about it. Yeah.
All right, and then I really like when Offset went only sight, no map involved. I cannot get lost. Kind of like lost, but he said lost instead of lost.
Mm-hmm.
And we know you flaw. Everything you say is false. It was kind of clever. I don't know. I gave this one a 4. It was a bit of a step up. Had a little more energy and life to it. I'm okay with it.
I gave this a 3. I didn't really feel that it was anything that I would really want to listen to again, and I wouldn't really keep it on my ideal album. I was like, okay, I get it. You're reminiscing about it, but I think by this point, I'm just kind of a little bit of I'm drained out. Like, there's a lot of Migos on this, and I know it's their album, and there's a lot of like content here, but a lot of the content is the same. And for me to get something fresh this far out, I'm just like, I wouldn't want to have to wait this long. So,
all right, there's one more. Their alleged cultural national anthem.
my eyes and put it on. She gon' fuck, she look at my life and wanna be on.
One has Quavo, pre-chorus is Quavo, chorus is Quavo, verse 1 is Quavo, then verse 2 is a bit of Takeoff, and then verse 3 is Offset. Then back to Quavo as he goes, oh, say, can you see? My people prayed and take a knee. We don't need stripes because we got bright stars. We still fight for that race car. When you do right, that's because you work hard. They gonna divide us all. That's when it all falls apart. Trying to save the whole world, but it ain't my job. No, it ain't my job. I'm just so confused about how this is a cultural anthem by any fucking means, man. This track just kind of felt like a regular track, except that he said culture a lot more and dropped a couple of lines in that little bridge part that could allude to being something a little stronger.
You know how like a lot in older hip hop it's about being true to yourself. That's kind of what Quavo was going for. There's a lot of references of like, this is authentic sound. You can tell me
but
that
like,
we're shit.
You gotta
but like,
understand, he shared the shit on Martin Luther King Day, being like it's a multinational cultural anthem for everyone to get behind.
Well, I don't think that's a really good thing or good move on his part. That seems a little bit weak.
I don't see it.
I think that because they are starting, because the way it is, like they feel like they're starting their own movement of what they're doing, their own culture. So they're using that to validate their culture, which they think like is authentic and is original. Which, if you think of hip hop being authentic and original to yourself, like that's how they kind of can make the connection.
Yeah, that doesn't make it real. I don't know.
I like the instrumental behind
it's
this.
It's an okay song. It's a 4. I'd keep it on the album. It's a fine outro.
I would definitely keep it as an outro. I like the instrument on it. I like how they do a nice vocal phase shift at the end, near the end of the outro of the song. It was just it was cool to see how they represent themselves and how they stand by what they believe in. It was really cool. I give it a 4 on 5 as well, and it will end my ideal Migos album.
Yeah. Look, as far as the album as a whole, I give this a 3.75. It's just far too fucking long. And I'm being super generous. I could talk a lot more shit, but that's what a lot of old people are doing, and I don't think like guys like Joe Budden are right. Like the Migos make sense. They do their vibey music. It's consistently got the same style, flow. Like, it's got nonsense lyrics as far as I'm concerned, but it's probably hype to some people. It was exactly what I thought it would be for 24 songs, and it was just so fucking long. I don't know why they did it. I don't recommend making a 24-song album that sounds the same. But I think it's very in line with my criticism of Rates. It was very long without a lot of diversity.
I wanted to have a little question. I wanted to have a conversation with you about that quick. I think it's solely because, and I'm glad you brought it up. I think it's solely because now streams and plays and the streams are being rated. So the longer album you have, the more options you can put in play, like different social media outlets, and as well. The first time I heard the album was at midnight on their playlist podcast when they dropped the album. So just like how Drake did it when he did his playlist, I think now artists are starting to make longer, like at least older artists or maybe even the newer ones, they're making longer albums as playlists, but they're still considering them albums because they want to get the physical copy sales.
But this wasn't a playlist. This was an album.
Well, it's an album, but it's the same thing isn't it kind of the same thing we did with Ritz? Like
something.
when you...
But Ritz released an album. Drake released a playlist. I don't really fully understand. The playlist is supposed to be like an album that's kind of just like more like a mixtape.
That's basically what I feel this would be like.
Culture 2 is more like their studio album, follow up to their big Culture album. It's not. I don't agree. I do think that part of the length has to do with streaming. They're a big incentive to have
Grammys
you stay on
and awards and being at the top.
But I think that even to that end, this is so long that it could blow up in your fucking face too.
I gave this album a 3.65 on 5. I liked them. I think a lot of the songs are dope. I like the beats, but honestly, I'm kind of waiting for them to talk about other shit. Like, I'm tired of hearing you about your fucking watch. I'm tired of hearing about the drugs, and I'm tired of hearing about the cars. Like, talk about something real. Open up and be vulnerable for a second and, Show us who the Migos really are, not these fucking.
That is who the Migos are.
Fine. Do you think the Migos should be a little bit more vulnerable and change up what they talk about, or do you guys enjoy hearing the same shit
Yo,
repeated?
listen, I'm willing to bet that if you're a Migos fan, you kind of like what they're doing.
Let us know in the comments below, please and thank you.
But yeah, so thank you all for watching. We do appreciate all that. Let us know. Fun fact, I do like the way that the Migos sounds like the Three Amigos. That's cool. Let us know if you think that's fun or what your general impressions are of Culture 2. And yeah, we'll be back next week. There's a good chance that we'll be following up with Lil Wayne Dedication 6 Reloaded.
There we go.
And yeah, so we'll see you then and looking forward to it. And hopefully Ryan's back. Bye.
Bye.